How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I have sharks on my shirt. No, I'm Tim. I'm Tim Wagner.
Is that what those are?
Yeah, they're little sharks.
That is so sick.
Yeah.
It looks like, what is that? The little alligator thing. LaCroix or lacrosse?
Oh, yeah, the lacrosse or whatever. Yeah, LaCroix. Yeah. You're probably right. It's probably, I always said lacrosse, but it probably is like, it's LaCroix. I don't know. What kind of, what does a double S make?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure somebody else is just kind of like, there's probably some French person hearing this is just like, it is La Croix.
Right. Yeah. Or some fashion person too. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't.
Whatever, dude. You call your alligator whatever you want, buddy. I don't give a shit.
I think it's gator. I'll tell you that.
That's a little gator on your shirt, and I don't give a shit what you call it. I think it's cool. I like that gator, buddy.
Yes. I still got that a little bit. I'll try not to keep it open on the mic, but it's just a little lingering still. But
it happens.
Clearing up. So, all right, dude. Let's jump into it. Do some fishing news. Fish here all year. That's the headline.
I like that headline. Fish here all year. Nice.
So I went national with this one, and I found some news about Yellowstone. And I was like, oh, damn. All right, cool. If you don't know, if you've never been here before, but also if you have been here before and you didn't know, I'm going to leave the link in the description of the YouTube video. Go over to youtube.com/@realaftv and you'll find the link to this in the description. But here's the gist of it. Yellowstone regs are changing, but be careful. It's very specific because yes, all the headlines are like, fishing all year in Yellowstone. Yellowstone's open up fishing all year. I don't know nothing about fishing in Yellowstone. If you do, leave it in the comments and let me know.
All right.
But here's the thing. Currently, you can fish anywhere in the park from the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend until Halloween.
Oh.
So them's the regs right now. That's pretty normal, and it's kind of up here even, right? Like you can relate to that as a Minnesotan, can't you?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, you're gonna be, dude. I don't think I'm walking in the woods of Yellowstone around Halloween time. That's too creepy.
that just sounds creepy.
No. I'm not doing it. That sounds like a recipe for a horror movie.
It does, dude. Yeah.
I heard that you could fish here all year round now. So I said, why not fish through Halloween? And then there's just like some sort of a guy standing in the woods. He's like, yes, through Halloween. They just put the emphasis on through. So you just wondering, like, is he gonna, like, they gonna run him through with something or what? What's happening in this movie?
What is this guy talking about?
Then it's just real boring, like fly fishing the whole time. M. Night Shyamalan style twist. You watched an hour and 20-minute fishing movie.
Got you. There's no twist. That's
the creepy
twist.
guy. This is a creepy guy watching that other guy fish for a long time. But no, I would. It's got to be like just rivers and stuff, right?
Yeah,
I would assume like creeks and rivers,
right?
And just fly fishing type stuff.
Yeah, must be fly fishing. I'm not 100%.
I haven't watched that show yet. Maybe we'll learn. I've been trying to. Yellowstone. There's a Yellowstone show.
Oh yeah, that's right. Shit.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one yet. We started with the oldest one, which apparently they're like, watch it in a different order. But I was like, that doesn't chronologically make sense to me. There's 1883, 1923, and Yellowstone are all like the same family.
Oh, I didn't know that. They're like the
Yeah, but
same
1883
universe.
is like I think 1883 and 1923 are like a mini series where it's just like that one season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's like 3 seasons of Yellowstone or
Yeah, I
whatever.
knew Yellowstone ran longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1883 was more interesting to me because that one's like legit Oregon Trail.
Nice.
Like that's what it is. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
hell yeah, dude. I know all about that. Then you watch it and you're just like, somebody gets bit by a rattlesnake. You're just like, oh shit, I saw that coming, dude. You can't. I
You
knew
did.
about this.
I've had this happen to me 12 times in the first grade.
Oh my gosh. You got to be ready for those rattlesnakes, buddy.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows. Got to be ready. And yeah, it's just so we watched 1883, got through 1923, but maybe when we get to Yellowstone, they'll be fishing because that one's set in like modern times.
Oh.
So maybe we'll see some people fly fishing and stuff in there. I would assume there's a lot of fly fishing. I know that that's what is definitely, that's what people go there for. But I don't know if there's a lake in Yellowstone.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe there is. I've only been there once, and there's a lot of hot springs and stuff like that. And I don't remember seeing any large bodies of water.
Okay.
But you're right. A lot of people do go there to fly fish. I know that much. And this is also the thing here for what's going to be open all year. And we'll get to dates and stuff like that. But since we're on this topic, the Mason River from the Montana-Wyoming border to the park's western boundary, and the Gardner River from Osprey Falls, which is like a trail, downstream to where the river meets the Yellowstone River near Gardner, which is a town. It's like an entrance into the park. It's a town that's just like been the entrance of a park.
Sure.
And so we're literally talking about a section of the Gardner River and a section of the Madison River that are open all year round. So that's why I said, hold on. It's very specific.
Right.
So, I mean, there's borders, there's endings, so you should be able to, find where you are pretty easily.
Yeah.
But, again, very specific. And so in 2024, the permits are good from the Saturday of Memorial Day, May 25th, until the end of the year now. So they're kind of starting it. Like this is the first year they're starting this all year round thing.
Yeah.
So they're still given that first, part of the that last part of the winter, first part of the spring buffer.
Right.
And then they're going to run all the way to December 31st. So if you get a permit, if you get a permit to fish the park, you have a permit to just go fish these parts. But remember, these parts only. The rest of the park is still remaining for the Saturday of Memorial Day until Halloween.
That's weird.
Yeah. Isn't it? So I don't know enough. And that's another reason why I was like, leave comments. Like if you're a fly fisher and you're listening and you know this and you think it's all for fly fishing, whatever, let us know because I'm just reading this. Oh, and by the way, go support local news. Blair Miller over at the Daily Montana is who wrote this article that I'll have in the link of the YouTube.
Heck yeah, the Daily Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm picturing like what if it was like a shisty weird thing where like the townsfolk are like, it's really some bull crap that I'm not allowed to fish all year round on this river. And then they know that like the fish run upstream and there's no fish there. And then they go, shit, you can fish all time. I don't care. But only from right here to right there. You cast a line, wet a line anytime you want, buddy. You just go ahead. And then, they don't have a southern accent like that in Montana. They're cowboys. I feel like they, for whatever reason, I feel like all cowboys still talk like that. But
right.
But I feel like that. Like, what if that was like a shisty kind of thing? They're just like, yeah, it's totally cool. Come on, it's still a destination area. You can come down here and have snow on the ground and be fly fishing in the river in this section. Isn't that great? and there's just like no fish there because none of them stay there in the
Right,
winter.
because they're all
Yeah.
they're just like,
Just
yeah, but we'll get our money.
Yeah, some dude making some shady deal selling all this land. Just be like, here's a great discount on all this farmland. People are like, I've always wanted to start a farmland. Then they go out there and it's like nothing but rocks and shit
Right.
soil. And those people just took their money and ran.
Yeah. I like, it's funny. It's a funny scenario to think about, but that it's also a scenario because we don't know. We don't, I
would
know,
assume there's
like,
got to be fish there. That would be crazy for them to.
Oh yeah. You got to
open
think
it up.
that the rangers or the parks officers have taken a good look at this and been like, yeah, that can hold it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it might be something too where it's like, some of the salmon run upstream when they're like mating, and then, whatever happens, they don't make it anyways. It might be something where the fish that are in that area around that time aren't likely to make it anyways. They're like, well, this is kind of dumb to just
like almost that they get trapped there and then they
be like, well, why are we
going to get fished out, huh?
Yeah, they're gonna die off and then just float down the river. Why not let the fishermen come and take them?
Fly fish is I shouldn't say this, but I mean I shouldn't assume, but everything that I've seen, fly fishing is almost always catch and release.
Oh yeah, for a lot of those guys.
Yeah,
I know, it's crazy. It makes sense because of where you're at. I think you'd have to like bring a cooler and have everything set up and stuff. But yeah, it does seem to be a lot of catch and release stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be that guy a lot of the time because some of those trout are delicious.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Be bringing a bag to keep them.
Those fly fisher guys a lot of times too. Yeah, they are just like, it's just about being out here,
being out there, man. Yeah.
Yeah, which I agree with. It is fun, but I'm keeping them sometimes.
Yeah,
for sure. Especially when I'm catching trout. If you're fly fishing for smallmouth in the Mississippi, then yeah, that's catch and release. That's what I'm doing too. Every time I go to the Mississippi, it's all catch and release. So I'm no stranger to setting out just to catch and release. But
sure,
at the same time, I think like walleye, I'd have a hard time putting back the trout because I'm like, I know how much you cost. I know how much I got to spend to get you.
Right.
When all I see is like dollar signs and delicious fish, I'm like, ooh. I have a hard time because, I feel like I have a problem when it comes to that because I go, well, here's some fish for fish fry. And then the next one's like, this one I could smoke. The next one is like, I can make this one into crab cakes. I like to cook, so it's like everyone
we're
is
gonna
like
talk about that.
It's like a justifiable keeper.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And we're going to talk about that because that's our fishing topic, is getting ready for walleye season. So
heck yeah.
Yeah. Let's save a little bit of that. There's really nothing else here anyways. I just wanted to say that it's inside the park. That was sort of like the last note that I had. This is Yellowstone. So Yellowstone is a national park. There are different laws and rules and everything that go in there. That's federal land for everybody to go use. There's different shit going on there. So don't go to, Wyoming or go to Montana and think, I'm on that river. No. This is very specific.
Right. Yep.
And this is just another example of what we're going to talk about here in a little bit. And we've talked about before already, is they're like the lakes in Minnesota. We're used to this sort of stuff because there are specific regs on specific lakes too around here. Yep. So we're just kind of seeing it. And I thought that was a good tie-in to Minnesota and stuff.
I mean, to talk about like the sectioning too, like that happens in the rivers. They have in
Minnesota that happens too.
Yeah. In like Minnesota and into like Wisconsin.
Sure.
I don't know if it's how far into Minnesota, because I honestly, I don't want to misspeak here because I don't fish the river, but I know that they go by by pools.
Oh,
like
sure.
Pool 1 opens this time, pool 2 or whatever. Right. So depending on where you're at in the river, the time opens on different areas. Or I said that all shitty.
I got you though. No, you made sense.
Yeah.
You made sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's kind of that same thing, you know, when
Right.
you go to
Good
a
point.
different area. It's very important to know where you're at all the time, because that's the same thing when you go
Right.
fishing, like the St. Croix.
Oh,
One
yeah.
side of the river, if you're fishing from shore, you have to have a Minnesota license. The other side, you have to have a Wisconsin license.
Right.
I highly doubt you'd ever get turned around enough to not know that you're on the Wisconsin side or the Minnesota side, but you still got to know which side you're on,
Right.
you know, or what
Yep.
you're doing.
Right.
And the same with I mean, this is another kind of far-fetched, or not far-fetched, but like off topic a little bit. But like when we went up to the that Voyageurs National Park,
Right.
half of those lakes are technically in like part of
Canadian.
the lakes, are in Canada. So like to be fishing certain areas, you had to have a Canadian fishing license
Right.
to fish that side of the lake even.
Yep.
So definitely, just regardless of where you're at, we've said it a million times,
Right.
be wary of your regulations. Don't just be going out there casting a line, and more than just making sure that you're in the right spot, know how many fish you can keep, when the time is that you can keep the fish, if there's a slot limit, you know.
Right.
All this
That
is
slot
important
limit too. That's a big one.
Yep. And things can change from year to year, like we talked about in maybe the last episode, even.
Yeah.
When
With the
Mille Lacs decided to go catch and release only.
Right.
So everything changes all the time. Keep your eyes peeled, because if you screw up, they're taking all your shit. they'll take it all, man. You can't
fucking take it all, man.
They don't mess around, because it's all money towards their, you know. I don't think it's like a normal police style thing that's trying to like just keep law and order. The DNR is like, if you screw up, I'm taking all your shit, I'm selling it, and I'm using the money to fund my stuff. I'm going to get a nice ATV to ride the trails
than you took out.
Yep. You screwed up. You don't deserve to fish here. I'm going to get the money, and I'm going to stock the fish, and I get one more stupid ass fisherman out of the way so I can catch all the fish that I put in there. I don't know if they actually think like that, but some of them might.
But I was just going to say, but if you know a DNR officer, hey, let them know. Contact that Real AF TV or realaf.tv/contact.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to him. It'd be fun.
I knew one guy who went and got his master's for the DNR officer, but he wasn't doing that as a profession yet. But that was years ago that I worked with him. I should call him up, or just hit him up and be
hit him up somewhere.
You DNR yet, or what's the deal with that?
Are you doing that, or did you what'd you do? Yeah, turns out he's working in Yellowstone on the Madison River.
Right. Just answers all our questions.
Yeah. All right, dude. Let's jump into housekeeping then. Just the usual stuff, except for one thing. The video continues to just give me fucking guff. So I was late on getting the actual video up, which means it was late to the YouTube podcast feed now, because that's 1-1, right? So, yep. First of all, apologies for that. Second is, fuck me. I'm not changing anything. It's just something in Premiere. I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. If I could, I would. But fuck, hang in there. I'm going to keep feeding them up. The audio goes up almost no problem. I don't have a fucking PC that is not worth a shit. I can run Flight Simulator without issue on very high settings. I have a good computer. It just, there's something fucking weird with I don't know. I haven't figured it out. Otherwise, anyways, just wanted to let you know. Sorry if you're on the YouTube feed. Keep going.
Yeah.
I do try to pay attention and just keep it rendering and try different things. So it's happening, and apologies.
Yep.
But if you're looking for the audio one, that seems to be, I can render that out and get that going and upload it, no problem. So you go to Amazon or Apple, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify. We're all there in them spots. And don't forget, Spotify now has more shit to interact. Like let's see, surveys at the end. Like, hey, did you like this? They got comments over there.
Yep.
And yeah, they're really
Yeah,
making moves.
definitely been playing around with Spotify more.
Oh, yeah?
Because the Google podcast, when you click the transfer, just brings it over to the YouTube music.
Right. Okay.
And there might be a setting. I didn't dick around with it long enough. I gave up on it immediately. But it transferred it all over, and every time I would close the app, it would stop the audio. Where I was like, no, you don't have to have the. So I'm guessing that there's probably a setting, probably a way to get around it or whatever.
So I think I might know.
I literally just yelled, "You're dead to me" to the phone, and then
did it bring it to the
Spotify.
YouTube app or the YouTube Music app?
The YouTube Music app, I believe.
And then when did you have the podcast on video or did you have it on audio?
Maybe it was on video, but it wasn't showing a video. So maybe I just got to switch it to audio.
Yeah, check that button because that might work. But I can say without a doubt, YouTube without premium is designed to shut off if you don't have your screen.
Right. I knew that. That's why I was like,
oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
If that's what they're doing with YouTube Music, then I'm just out for now because I'm not paying for the YouTube Premium to get the same thing I can get on Spotify. So
That's what I was going to say. They shouldn't be doing it with podcasts. I get it if you have the video setting on, but if you click the audio only setting and then lock your phone, they should do it with podcasts. If I would assume, fuck.
Yeah, right. But I would assume there's a way. So don't just take what I'm saying and be like, well, I can't do it because I bet there is a way. Right. I'm just saying for my personal preference, I clicked to switch it over, and then I was like, what's the point of dicking around with this? I have all this stuff on Spotify. I'll just use Spotify.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Patreon, we'll talk about it during the break. Every other week podcast. That's right. Every other Monday we drop a full podcast. We get the news in the front, and then we got the regular show. We got the housekeeping in here. We got the random take. We do all that every other week. If you're just over on YouTube and you're sharing this with a friend, you're like, hey, just give them a shot. Go over there on Wednesday, catch the fishing topic. Go over there on Friday, catch the random take. Just split out. None of this housekeeping, none of this fun news stuff and banter in the beginning. It's like giving them a taste, and then come over for the other extra fun shit that we do.
Hell yeah!
Fishing topic, Tim?
Hell yeah!
All right,
skablooch.
Jump into it then. We are going to talk about readying up for walleye season, and I want to start with this, Tim. This is because I think this is how I got to this topic. Okay. I just wrote down in the doc, what's a kicker engine? Walleye fishing. And I was like, maybe that's enough for a topic. And then I'm like, oh, that's a motor. Okay. But then it made me think about, oh yeah, okay. Walleye season's around the corner here. Let's talk about it. We've talked about walleye. We talk about spring fishing, summer fishing. We've talked about this a bunch.
Yeah.
Not in the way we're about to talk about it. Not in this like format. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
All in one place. So let's jump into it. Kicked off by the kicker engine.
Kicker.
That was how we started this. And it's always on Mother's Day weekend. Every time. Here in Minnesota. Every time.
I don't know.
It seems like
pretty close.
It's always that's the old saying though, right? Like that's the old like the lore around Minnesota. It's always on Mother's Day weekend.
I want to say like last year it wasn't though.
I feel like recently it hasn't fallen on Mother's Day.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about it last year.
Yeah.
Or
I'm sure we did.
Whatever. Because the thing is that mothers are allowed to fish free on Mother's Day. They don't, at least in Minnesota, you don't have to have a license if you're a mom. You can fish that one day. You get to fish for free.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
you've probably said that before, but that just doesn't ring a bell. That's kick-ass.
So you could take your mom out fishing. Like she doesn't fish a lot, but you're like, do you want to go fishing, Mom? It's fishing opener. I'll take you fishing.
Right.
And they're, you could probably get away with it. Like, again, check your regs all the time. But if you don't want to, you really think the DNR guys are going to be that big of a dick? Oh, you bring your mom out for Mother's Day fishing? Did she have a license? No. Oh, sorry, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. Here's your ticket.
Here's a ticket.
I don't think they'd be like that.
I don't think they would either.
Still. Anyways, yeah, most of the time it falls on Mother's Day. I want to say last year it was a weird one where for whatever reason it didn't. It was like a week off.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember if it was a week off or it was just like if they delayed the season or something. I'm not sure.
I want to say for whatever reason Mother's Day was like, or maybe fishing opener was like on the 8th or some shit.
Maybe they bumped it up.
I always think it was like the second weekend in May, and last year was weird. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. That's either. The past. This year, it's on Mother's Day.
This year, yep, Mother's Day weekend. So take your mom fishing. We also, so then I want to kind of start at the beginning here of the kicker engine and how this started, and it's also called an auxiliary motor, which I had no idea.
Yeah,
until I looked into
it. Second motor.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. So I guess I should explain it first. This is so driving up north in Minnesota many times in my life. I always go, why in the fuck does that boat have a tiny little motor? It's like that one's little twin. It's like Danny DeVito and fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger here. What the fuck?
Y'all is so sweet. I can't do a good job. I just like doing the y'all.
That's good though.
Yeah, he's a tiny motor.
It's just so bad that it's good. Like it's just so like
yeah. I just like the fucking noises he makes. Oh man.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that was how I literally remember seeing one of these things for the first time. Is like it was literally a small version. It was like seeing the Hot Wheel version of like your dad's truck.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's like a tiny.
I got the Hot Wheel version of my dad's truck. Like that's what it was in my brain the first time I saw it.
Yeah. Dude, the first twins thing is like perfect analogy though, because the one's like just this big fucking I'm a tank, I'll get you through the shit. Yep. And then the other one's like Danny DeVito. I'm just picturing him singing that song, that one song where he puts on like a little pageant show in Always Sunny, and he's trying to get he comes back and he's trying to tell him that we got to make a song about not diddling kids. Like the if you make a song about not diddling kids, everybody's gonna think you're diddling kids. And he's just like, it should be like, do not diddle kids, definitely not diddling kids. Gotta be big, older than my daughter. Fucking A, dude, that's a good show.
Oh my god, that show is so funny.
Twins is a good movie too. Good, like bad, good.
Right. I haven't seen it in so long that I just don't have. But it's probably going to come on Netflix soon. I mean, they just got Kindergarten Cop, so they got to be working on.
Is that the one where he gets pregnant? Or no? No. Different one?
That one, isn't that the same movie and like same concept? Just isn't that him and Danny DeVito again?
It could be.
Yeah, because then Danny DeVito's birthed out of that couch, remember, during the party?
Dude, they had some weird ass movies back then.
Yeah, no, I don't remember what that one is called. I'm pretty sure that's not, because they're twins. It's not that he's having twins, right?
Right. No, I don't think so. I think it's their twins, but they're definitely not twins.
Right.
One of them has an Austrian accent, and the other one's Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Back to motors. Back to Walleye.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the twins comparison was for reals, because these things are like 9.9 horsepower is what I saw. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
9.9.
Yeah.
Why isn't it just 10? That's so weird.
Dude,
but like,
that's one
I don't
thing
know
I've
how
always
horsepower is measured.
I've always wondered that too, because they do have 10 horsepower motors. I don't know why it's 9.9. I've never quite got that. I don't know if it looks cooler.
I don't know. I think it has to just be a true measurement, but like, couldn't you just spritz a little more gas in there and make it 10? I mean,
well, yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Like, I definitely think that you could get more horses out of it or less horses out of it. And I don't know if it's like on any given day, it could be 10. And they're like, well, we don't want to fucking lie. Put 9.9 and be honest about it.
Right.
It might not be a full 10 horses all the time. Because the air density can change too. When it's colder, you have more horsepower.
Right.
So it's not 10, I think is so close that maybe it's literally like a not false advertisement. Like, yeah, it's most of the time 10. But when you're dealing with this humid, hot, sticky air,
yeah,
and you have, there's water in the air and it's not as dense and shit.
Right.
It's hot air to begin with.
Yeah.
We're looking at like 9.8, and I don't want to be a fucking liar, So, but I really don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know either. I read that there were some over that, but like that was just the most common one. And now to hear you say it, you're like, yeah, I see that all the time, right? Like,
yeah.
And the thing that the reason for me why this got a little complicated was like, oh, there's like different ways to mount these, and then sometimes they're actually backup engines on some boats, but they're trolling motors for walleye. And I'm going, okay, this is a lot more than I thought, but this is definitely not a full topic.
Right.
And then it gets into like the steering and shit like that, where you can have them like hooked up to the console. So they're like, and so they just like the auxiliary engine moves with the big engine at the same time.
Yep.
And I'm like, whoa, but what if it's up and locked when you're cruising? I don't know, man.
Yeah. So they have it where basically like you can have them working together, and then when you lift them up, you can like literally just like disengage it. So it's not, when you're using the big motor, it's not even in the water.
Yeah, and then it's like it's just like totally cut off. Like it doesn't start. It doesn't steer.
Yeah, it won't. Like, it won't do nothing. Most of them. Well, I wouldn't say most of them. A lot of them back in the day always used to be like the pull start, because it was a small motor. It was easy to just pull start it real quick.
Oh, sure, yeah, just fucking lawnmower.
Yeah, but now I'm sure everything that's new is push start. You just walk back there. Maybe even has a button on the thing.
Yeah, probably.
Like, there you go.
Yeah,
but. So, the kicker engine is, like you said, for walleye and trolling and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different reasons that it's nice.
Yeah, because this is where I'm like all in. I just want to hear what you got to say, because I'm fucking confused by these things.
So, back in the day, before people had like, the kicker engine is nothing new. But there were less of them out there back in the day.
Sure.
And people would like back troll a lot.
What's that?
Because so you would drive your boat backwards.
What?
You would put it in reverse. Like if you had a tiller, it's done with like tiller engines, not with the center console. So when you're a tiller, it makes it pretty easy to drive the boat backwards, because you have. Are you familiar with the tiller? You know where you got the handle?
That's where you drive the boat out the back, grumpy old man style.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. So you're already sitting in the back of the boat, and then you just drive it backwards. Sure. So when you're trying to troll, sometimes trolling at a slower speed is necessary. Yeah. And the reverse gear is oftentimes geared slower than the forward gear. Yeah. So you're putting it in reverse, and then when you're not driving the boat forward, it's a lot more resistance in the water too. Because it doesn't have the point in the hull. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's like usually flat boats backwards. Are flat backed. So yeah. Right. Okay. And if you ever see any of the boats, like if it's a tiller and it has those big plastic pieces that are in the back. Oh yeah. They'll have like rubber boots and stuff. That guy back trolls. Those plastic pieces
Oh.
are because if there's a little bit of wind, that flat side is just smacking into the waves and it's fucking kicking up water. So you get those plastic pieces.
Yeah, dude, that
So
would
it's
suck so bad.
yeah,
I'm
because
just
every
picturing a
time
cold, windy day. None
oh,
of
and
those
every
plastics on
wave,
there. Fuck.
pop, 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 it's just shooting. You're just like,
It's
yeah,
like riding
damn
a
it.
flume all fucking day long.
Yeah, you just. I bet it's like one of those things, where you're out on the water for a while and you like get done and you have that like you feel like you're still moving
Sea
like
legs.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just see him at dinner just like going
Flinching.
flinching. Just even getting hit with water all day. Shit. Just been conditioned to it. So, anyways, sometimes trying to get slower is a big deal. And
Yeah.
that kicker motor allows you to do that way better than using your big motor.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're using far less gas. Maybe your big motor can slow down to that point, but your 9.9 horse motor barely moving is going to use so much less gas than your 150 horse to
Right.
300, especially if you're dealing with those guys that got like 350, 400.
Right.
Like you don't want to be barely moving on that thing. Plus, they probably can't barely move. They're probably slowest speed they can go is like 4.5, 5 mile an hour.
Okay.
So that's too fast.
Yeah.
That is too fast.
Okay. Yep.
Depending on what kind of rig you're using, like let me take a step back. It's not too fast always. Okay.
Oh.
Before I just go, you never do that. Then sometimes you do that. But that's more of like a summertime. You're trying to get a reaction bite. It's hot. The fish are moving fast. You're trying to haul ass. Most of the time, like if you're using a Lindy rig, you're trolling at anywhere from like 1 to like 1.5 mile an hour.
Oh,
which
wow.
is pretty damn slow.
Yeah.
Like my dad's boat, I think when you're in first, like, or not first, when you're in forward gear.
Yeah. Like just the first click out of neutral.
Yeah, exactly. The first click out of neutral and you got like no wind or anything. I want to say the slowest he can go is like 3.2, 3.4.
Yeah.
So you're moving pretty good.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad speed if you're trolling like crankbaits. But if you're trying to troll a Lindy rig where you're dragging, where it's a weight with a line and then you have a live bait.
Okay.
Like a minnow or a worm or even like a harness where there could, different style blades could achieve different style speeds.
Right.
But you could put like a spinner rig on there and then you're pulling it like that. So it's really all about being able to troll the speed you want, having the ability to control it. And you can get those up to like that 5, you'd be able to go like 5 miles an hour. I don't even
sure.
10
Like
horse,
in
you
the
might be
reason
able to
that
get-
they're backup engines, right? Like you can get them going enough to
you might
make
be
it
able to
feel
get up
like
to
it's
like-
worthwhile.
Yeah, you might even be able to get up to like 6 or 7 miles an hour if you're going wide open. But if you wanted to troll those for bigger fish too, like some people have the kicker because they're musky fishermen. You can turn that shit up and go, at a decent, because even going wide open in your 9 horse is going to be more fuel efficient than idling
your 350 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason that you would have that over a trolling motor, because a trolling motor should
this
be able
was
to
my
do the
question.
same thing.
This is another part. Yeah, you're hitting it.
Yeah. So a trolling motor should be able to do the same speeds.
Okay.
But the battery is
the limitation on that.
You're right.
Yeah.
And you don't want to kill your battery, because if you get to a spot where you want to be able to stop and move around, that's where that excels. So when you're just trying to stroll in a straight line, you have a big enough gas tank that you could troll for hours on end with a 10 horse motor.
Right.
And with a trolling motor, if you're trying to go, like 1.5 miles or a mile, like 1.5 mile an hour, depending on what you're trolling motor is, you might only be able to do that for like 2 hours
Ah,
before
yeah.
it's
It's
dead.
not going to get you your all day walleye fishing.
Right. And
Yeah.
depending on how you have stuff rigged up, because a lot of people don't have a secondary battery for their graphs, their battery's running their trolling motor and their depth finders and stuff. So when
Oh,
you start using your, because I've run into this because I don't have a kicker motor, where you're using the trolling motor to try to troll at like 2 miles an hour or whatever,
mm-hmm.
and then the trolling motor doesn't die, all of a sudden your graph says low voltage and shuts off. And you're like,
Oh,
fuck,
shit.
dude. So now I'm going, it's like I can drag this crankbait blind at this speed, or I can give up and go get a different battery or whatever it happens to be.
Sure.
So, I mean,
That-
that's the biggest stuff right there.
Yeah. No, that's exactly my question about it all. Like, that was, you would just answered all the questions, because I was just like, if you have a troll motor, then who cares? Like, why? But the one that really hit me that I just didn't even cross my mind was the nimbleness of the electric trolling motor. Like, if you wanted to switch, if you weren't just having luck deep and you're out walleye fishing and you weren't having luck deep, you might go up to the weeds and start to kind of just like get yourself around
Yeah.
quickly and nimbly. Like that electric motor is just like on a snap, it turns 360. It just does so much more, where
for sure.
trolling the deep edge, throw out that kicker and fucking roll that edge. Just go.
Right. Yep. Just go for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
they have electric. They have like a little like electric kickers too.
Oh, sure. I bet that
Yeah. They have like the Minn Kota ones that go in the back and stuff, but those for me, I've never really understood, because I guess you could have like a secondary motor for just, or a battery for just that.
Right.
But I mean, they are considerably cheaper too, I guess.
The electric ones?
When you get the electric ones, yeah. But you got to keep
wow.
charging your battery. The gas motors are not cheap.
Wow.
It doesn't matter what kind you're looking at. With 10 horse,
I didn't expect that. I would have expected the electric engine that size and that specific manufacturer and purpose would actually be more expensive, because I figured it would have been just a newer technology, something that just isn't well manufactured. Usually as you get deeper into the manufacturing process, things get more efficient and blah blah blah, and you think a kicker engine has been around for 100 years.
Yeah.
Or I should say, it's not even necessarily the kicker engine, just little engines like that, like
Yeah.
10 horse
Well,
little
I guess
popper.
so. On a quick Google, I guess it's a kind of a horse apiece in some situations.
Sure.
I mean, the kicker engine, depending on what you're looking at, some of these like a 9.9 horse Merc, I guess like 2,300.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's not too bad. There's another person that has it for like a brand new, like the EFI nice brand new Mercury
Mm-hmm.
is 3,500 according to this website, which is not the same as the EFI is like the cooler, newer looking motor.
Mm-hmm.
But the electric kicker from Amazon from Minn Kota is $36.99. So I thought they were cheaper. Oh, so I guess.
But in this case, you're looking at almost the same. Well, except for the cheaper engine.
Right. And
when you're looking at a Minn Kota electric engine, I mean, that's going to be its top of the line one, I'm sure. The top line option right out the gate.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just didn't even realize the speeds too, because I was like, how this little gas engine, it's got to get a little cook on it, but you can get it down there for this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All
right. So speaking of the edge, I was talking about the map and riding the edge with the kicker engine and stuff like that. It's like where to go. Yeah.
Wherever
you are outside of Minnesota. You know, I don't know much. I don't even know that much about walleyes in Minnesota, but just walleye tends to be a well-stocked fish kind of anywhere. If there's walleye, right, they're stocking it because it's one of those fish that people are spending money to come and fish. It's a sport fish. Like that's just the way I'm going to put it. So if you got walleyes around, you can find walleyes in your area, then there's going to be walleyes. Just start looking around. But don't it's not like these things are living in Georgia and Florida. This is sort of a northern fish. Right. So, I mean, it seems like there were some outliers down south, but again, I think it has to do with stocking and stuff like that. And they must just be able to keep them going. But anyways, where are you going to go? Here in Minnesota, I found that they had a link on the DNR website that says top walleye lakes. But then it just took you to the 10 biggest lakes in the state. And I was like, well, I mean, that's just proof of like how this is a northern style fish, like this is a cold water fish.
Sure. Yeah.
So I just kind of laughed at that link and went, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they are. They're giant bodies of water up here where the walleye do well. Like, but I know, we always talk about this. I know that fishing it's all about the weather and the water temps and all that stuff. If you're going out on this weekend, knowing how the weather is and stuff like that, like where would you go, Tim, or how would you go about
like for opener?
Yeah, for early season, like it's basically first couple weeks of walleye fishing.
Shallow. You're going shallow, dude. You're going shallow.
Yeah. So what if I were to say this quick? I found, so again, back to the local news. Like I understand not everybody can be where they're going to go fishing because here in Minnesota, we travel. So speaking of that, I looked up some local Brainerd news.
Yeah.
And they had a good article on there.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, yeah, go look up some local news. Like if you know where you want to go, now we'll get back into that. But if you have a place that you want to go look up some local news. Because I found this article in the Brainerd Dispatch and it says spawn's done, dude.
That's what they're saying already?
They spawned already because of the weather. It has to be because of the weather.
Yeah.
There's reporting. Yeah, there was a guy out there and he's like, yeah, I'm asking around. And everybody's like, they're spawned out already.
They're spawned out.
Yeah. So
I still...
Yeah, keep going though. I don't mean to take away from it.
Well, no.
Because also you're speaking general rule too, kind of in a way.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that even helps you narrow it down for the most part to start out.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when they're still thinking, like depending on which lakes you're on and stuff, they've went up into your creeks or wherever they're spawning and stuff, and then they start moving back out into the lake, and you might catch them transitioning. Well, now they're done, so they're going to be where the fish are. And if it's cold, like the water's still cold, they're going to be up shallow with everything else.
Oh.
Everything's shallow right now.
Right. They just don't want to be that cold, even being a colder water, like deep water fish in the, again, generalization of a walleye.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, it's really fucking cold out there still.
Dude, and I have learned my lesson when they, like this time of year, it depends. Every lake is different. The fish's temperament is different. If it's a high pressured system where they see a lot of people and a lot of like lures and stuff, it might be hard to catch them when they see you already. So don't drive up shallow and start looking. Just assume that they're where they are and cast to it. And if you can't get bit, then be like, all right, now I can go and see if I see them or whatever. Or change your presentation if you really think that they're there. Mm-hmm. Because I've done that before where I've casted. I just be like, I didn't get a single bite. Maybe they're not here. Drive up, see like 3 of them. They like take off into the depths because they saw you.
Mm-hmm.
and they, retreated a little bit deeper. I'm sure they came up a little bit later, but they saw me,
Right.
and I was just, after that, they weren't willing to bite on anything. I saw them, but they kept swimming away.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
you can have that issue. Yeah. Where it's just like, fuck, dude, that's a good fish right there. I'd really like to catch you, dude.
And are you seeing them? So like you were saying you were literally like sight seeing those ones. So in order to not get close, are you working vegetation at this time? Because it's early, right? Like how much vegetation can you see? Do you know using electronics? Like what is, if you, use what you got, but
there's some vegetation that starts popping up.
Damn, already.
For me, it's almost like there's some that's like left over from like the last year, maybe, or it just doesn't. Some of the stuff might not die off. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
like how the growth
maybe it just
works.
goes underneath the ice, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
But there's some stuff that's almost like kind of like thicker, matted grass, and then I seem to have good luck if I can find any cabbage, which is like a taller broadleaf, so it's like a taller plant, and then it's got like bigger leaves around it.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to just be like almost just kind of swimming like from the lakes I fish. They're just kind of like around that. Like if you can find it, there's a couple different spots. I always like when I see a cabbage, I mark it on the depth finder. Nice. I'm like, there's some cabbage here, and I go back, and that's where I have good luck.
Nice.
And there's like little contours can be a difference. Like it'll be like 7-8 feet for a while or whatever, and then it like dips off into 10, like that 2-foot little ledge. They're like right there, dude. I don't know. Yeah. It's small shit. It's not like they're on the big drop off.
Right.
There's like in this, for example, there's one spot on the lake I fish where there's a slower drop off. It goes out and it drops from like 10 feet down to 13, and then it slowly goes from like 13 out to like 17, and it drops off faster. In the middle of the summer, sometimes they'll be out on that 17, sometimes they'll be past the drop off a couple of feet like further down.
Yeah.
And in the springtime, they're like right where that 10 goes to 13.
Oh yeah. Like
that
stretched out 3-foot depth.
Yeah. And they'll move up from there too sometimes. Like when it's earlier, they'll move up even further.
Damn.
And the same thing goes like, so it's all a game. They move around 100%. A lot. So it's trying to figure out where they're at. It's not necessarily like this is where you should fish all day. It's like early morning, they might be up there.
Yeah.
Mid-afternoon, they might be out here.
Which is why they might kind of to go further. Back to the kicker engine and the all day stuff is like, you can make a day of this, because you're just trying a bunch of different things, different ledges, different depths and stuff like that, playing the game.
And I don't know any of like the real big lakes, like Mille Lacs and Erie and all that kind of stuff. Like if you're out there I don't know if trolling big things like stuff works this time of year for them. I see people trolling the lake I fish all the time. They'll just get in like a pontoon boat and just drag shit behind there.
Oh,
I don't see people catching shit, dude. I see them like, I'll see them like catch a bass or whatever. And I'm sure trolling works, but I think it really depends on the lake that you're dealing with. And I think the lake that I fish is too pressured and too clear to drive right over the top of them and then get them to eat your crankbait.
Right.
But the crankbait works. But this time of year, I'd be casting it. You can cast like a stick bait, like a jerk bait, or like a shad wrap. Shad wrap is money all year round.
Jeez, and,
really? Deals. Go to when you hear this.
We got to get a jingle for that.
Yeah, when you hear this, they might still have them on sale at Fleet Farm. They are 30% off all Rapala right now. Oh. If you hear this and you missed that deal, they got 20% off all Rapala at Shields. That
Oh,
starts. That's definitely this week. That's from like the 20th to the 28th.
okay.
And I want to say that maybe the Fleet Farm one is over already. So sorry if you missed it. Fleet Farm has a better deal than Shields, but Shields has your deal now. So,
Right. As you're hearing the
anyways,
podcast. Yeah.
don't ever pay full price. Just watch for deals.
Just
Everything goes on sale.
right.
Just know what you're going to use in the year and go buy them. I've been having my eye on these Magnum jigging wraps
Okay.
or whatever they're called. I forget. I think they're jigging wraps. I get confused because all their names are so close together.
Uh-huh.
I think that one's called a Magnum jigging wrap. Anyways, I won't be using that till later in the summer. It's not something that you be using in the springtime. But
Oh.
I bought 6 of them because they had them 30% off and they're brand new. And I was like, I'm buying these now because I know I'm going to lose some and just
Right.
need to go get them when they're on sale. So
So there
that's
you
how I
go.
roll. Yeah.
Before
But anyways,
what were you gonna
I was just going to say, I would be doing my best to cast. If you can, do your best to cast as far as you can. If you bass fish sometimes, get that shit. I mean, you could cast pretty far on a spinning setup too. And I suppose it depends on what you're fishing and how you want to fish it. But you can fish them slow. If you get like that suspending jerkbait, you can cast it out. You can straight retrieve it. You can pop it. You can pause it like you're fishing for bass. There's a chance that walleye are coming up and eat it if they're right there.
Mm-hmm.
They're all feeding right now. They're all in the same spot. You
Oh,
can't
sure.
target bass, but you can target walleye. And if a
Right.
bass eats it, you're going for walleye. Whatever,
Right.
dude. That's what you're doing. But seriously, like this time of year, you can fish them a lot the same. It's just that you have, for the most part, you don't have to. You can try whatever you want. But like the stick baits work. The long, skinny,
long skinny fishes. Yeah.
it's a stick bait. Stick bait.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah.
that.
For the audio
That's
listeners, yeah, it's long.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with the stick bait, it's the long skinny fish.
Yeah.
And
So yeah. So this is a jerk bait. This is a KVD Strike King one. That would work. Cast that out there, work it like that. You can catch it with those, or like the if you don't really want to like pop it and you just want to cast it out and reel in, the Shad Wrap has a faster vibration. This one, if you were to cast it out and just reel it in, would just kind of like move slow, like back and forth. It's not really meant to. It doesn't have a bill on it for that. It's more like you kind of pop it on a slack line and it kind of like jerks back and forth and kind of moves weird. You can work it fast. You could cast that out and you could reel it in. It would work. Like the Husky Jerk is one that you can cast. That's made by Rapala. You can cast that out and just reel it in.
okay.
That would work. That's like a floating. That's like the OG.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's like one of the OG lures out there.
Yeah.
Which also might help catch you some fish, especially on like pressured waters. If everybody else is out there casting the newest hottest shit, go back to the old shit.
Yeah.
Because they haven't seen it.
Throw
in a
something
while.
new, right? Yeah. Well, new to the fish.
New to them because everybody's using the new stuff. You go old.
Right.
Know?
So you jumped into like what you're rigging and what you're using, or what you would rig and what you would use. And I saw shiners. I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah, dude.
But like shiners are alive. That's live bait, right?
Shiners are live bait.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're saying some and yeah, so you're saying you were talking some artificials there. Shiners, are you talking like are they talking like this is a Lindy rig situation, or what would you shine?
No.
What do you do with a shiner?
No, so because a Lindy rig is like you're trolling it. And that's another one where you have to go kind of like straight over the top. So you could get away with it. Lindy rig is clear water, works a lot better, it seems like, where the fish can see it.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably get away with trolling over a lot of different fish this time of year, depending on like the pressure, like if these fish are pressured, and depending on what the clarity is. If you're dealing with some murky water, I've heard of some dudes trolling these murky waters where it's like 6 feet deep and they're trolling shit right behind the boat. and they're catching fish because these fish aren't getting spooked by the boat. I think they probably get stirred up by the motor because they're like, what the fuck is that? What is, and then all of a sudden they just, and there goes a bait by them and they're just like, no shit, fuck that noise, go. And then they eat it. But like, if I trolled in that shallow of water on my lake, maybe a bass would eat it, maybe an aggressive fish would eat it, but the walleye are definitely running. They're not going to sit there while I troll over them.
Right.
So a Lindy rig and like trolling it where you're just dragging it behind the boat, I don't have good luck with on the lake that I'm fishing. Not saying that you can't have good luck. If anybody out there wants to try it, that's absolutely fine. But the thing is, you might scare them away and you might not have another chance. So maybe go and try to cast for them first. And if that doesn't work, then go ahead and troll right over the top of them. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. But the odds of you catching a fish after you spook them are way worse. So maybe give them this look. And then if the cast doesn't work, then give them a different look or whatever you want to do. But I'm casting that shit. And when you're fishing a shiner, you could fish a shiner on a bobber.
Is this a big minnow, by the way?
Big. They're pretty big.
Yeah, shiners are good size. Yeah.
They're normally, like 4,
5, 6 inches.
Normally like 3.5 to like 6 inches. Like 6 inches is a pretty big ass.
Would be a big
shiner,
one,
dude.
yeah.
But every once in a while you see them that big, and it's like, damn. But they seem to be bigger like that in the summertime. A lot of times I get like 3.5, 4-inch ones are decent size, and they're bigger and they're flatter on the side. They have a lot of flash to them, so they're really getting the they're really getting the attention of the fish, and they die easy. Like if you look at them wrong, they're just like swimming in the minnow bucket. You look over at them, they're just like shit.
They float up like fucking fainting goats or something.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Oh damn it!
Shit. Belly up.
So when they're kicking and they're flailing and stuff, that helps. But if you're fishing them on like a jig and a minnow, that makes it a little bit easier, where it doesn't really matter that much if they're still alive. Having the live minnow helps, because when you pause it, if the live minnow is like twitching as the fish is sitting there, because sometimes the fish might not really want to eat it too much, but you pop it up a couple of times, you make it kind of hop in front of them, and then it wiggles its tail as it's sitting there in front of it. It like entices it to smash that shit.
Is this something that you'd rig more if you were going shore fishing for walleye during opening?
Well, you could do that. Yeah, you definitely from shore wouldn't make sense, but
it just sounds like
from the boat as well. Jigging a minnow was like, that's what it used to always be. That's the old school go-to. Before like artificials really started making the scene and stuff. A jig and a minnow was like, this is what we use. We put a jig and a minnow out there. We're casting it out. We're working it back to the boat.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can definitely do that. Using a bobber also works
with a shiner.
Depending, you can hook a shiner on there. Hook it by like you can hook it in the mouth. You can hook it like just behind the dorsal fin, which is kind of what I like to do.
Okay.
Where that way, like even if it doesn't have the strength to like really swim around, it'll just kind of like twitch. And something will come. But I normally don't rig it with a bobber, but some people do that now, and it might work in the shallow. Some people with the electronics, they like power fish with bobbers. And they'll literally drive over it with the electronics, and when they mark a fish on the electronics, they'll just toss the bobber in, like let the boat drift a little bit past it, and then the bobber sits like right where they marked the fish.
Whoa.
And then they just wait to see if something comes and takes it. Yeah, dude. It works really well if you got everything for it. Right. But that seems to be a little bit more like the dog days of summer type tactics, where they're like spread out and you're not having a good time. Like it's not easy to find them.
Right.
So you're driving around until you see one, and then you quick cast it out.
And you see one, you're like, shit, go.
Yeah. But definitely bobber, if you're not confident with doing other stuff, you can try putting the shiner on the bobber, or a fat head works just as well, or depending on the lake that you're fishing on, a night crawler can work too.
Oh,
Leeches can work. I think leeches are normally like a little bit later in the year too, and I don't even know if you can like find them to buy them in the
Oh,
cold weather months.
yeah, like they're not harvested yet, or they're not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
interesting.
mainly minnows in the summer times. But fatheads work just as well. You can
Mm-hmm.
catch them on a crappie minnow sometimes, but the crappie minnow are a lot of times like too small. It's not a big enough meal. They don't go for a crappie minnow. If you're working it on a jigging minnow, a jig
Mm-hmm.
and a minnow, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Made it sound like I'm saying a jigging minnow, and people are just like, "What the fuck is a jigging minnow?"
What breed is
But
that?
yeah, what kind of jigging minnow? What the hell? But if you're using like a jig and a minnow, you can use the crappie minnow, and you might get a bite, but having a bigger minnow helps. That's why the shiners can excel.
Ah.
But the shiners, they sell in the half dozen.
Mm.
Like they're not cheap.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say
So
they give you 6 little fish. Like fuck, man.
yeah, six
Especially when you're
fish.
talking about like going out and trying to find them.
Yeah, you can buy a lot of them will sell like a dozen. Some of them have limits.
Whoa.
Like, yeah, you go to a bait shop and they're just like, we're not selling you more than like 2 dozen or whatever happens to be because they
Mm.
just don't have that many of them.
Mm-hmm.
But fatheads you still get them by the scoop. So economically speaking, like if you don't want to go spend the money, you can catch walleye on fatheads
Sure.
and you get a whole scoop, whatever that happens to be. It's a hell of a lot more than a
6.
dozen.
Or a
Yeah,
dozen. Yeah.
more than 6 for sure, but it's more than a dozen.
Yeah.
And it's half the price for way more bait. But the shiners work well. That's why they cost more.
Right, sure.
There's
Yeah.
a reason that people pay for them.
Right. Yeah. Good point. There's the whole reason. Yep.
Yep.
Makes sense.
But
Makes
this
sense.
time of year too, it seems to be like you should use lighter jigs as well.
Lighter in color or lighter in weight? Like
Lighter in weight.
more.
Color is on you. Do whatever you
Mm.
fucking want.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you have confidence in.
Mm.
Brighter colors normally don't work as well in clear water, but that doesn't mean you're not going to catch them. I've
Mhm.
used the brightest ass chartreuse you can think of in clear water, and I catch fish all the time. But I have confidence in like the greens and the blues.
Sure.
I know some people use pinks. I don't touch pinks. Orange. I use orange when I'm fishing for smallmouth because I have confidence in orange and pinks when it's for smallmouth, but not so much for walleye. But you can catch fish with those colors. It's
Yeah,
not
of
like they
course.
won't work. It's
Yeah,
just
otherwise it
that's
wouldn't
my
even make it, right?
personal preference. Yeah, I
Oh,
used
do
to
you
use
remember
green.
that Seth's fighter video where he went into the U? Like it wasn't the U of M, but like he went into that university and they were like analyzing the fish eyesight and the colors and all that shit.
Mm,
You don't remember that?
I don't remember it. No,
Fuck, man.
I've
Okay.
seen a lot of different videos where they're always talking about that.
I swear to God, you sent me that one. I'm gonna have to look it up and I'll see if I can find it for you.
Maybe
I
because I know
really
that they're
thought,
always. I mean, they've been talking about it forever. They talk about what the fish can use, like what the fish is able to see.
yep.
They talk about how the color actually shows as it goes down too.
Oh, because as
Like,
it changes down,
yeah,
as the sunlight
yeah,
penetrates different, it's going to
that's an
actually change the
interesting
color
one.
of the lure.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I
When
bet.
you see people showing you that, where you actually see like, here's like 5 different colors that are real bright, and when you submerge them to a certain point, they
Mhm.
all look like slightly different shades of blue. It look like almost
Wow.
like the oranges and the
Yeah, that's
yellows and
fucking
shit like
cool.
almost disappear.
Right.
But like those neon colors and stuff, like, and that's where it really shows up. And the glow ones, I mean, obviously,
Oh, yeah, sure.
that one makes sense. I would think that not all fish are out there eating it.
Right.
They're not smart enough to really think critically.
Right.
But I think there's like instincts that are just like, I ain't never seen fish glow no more. That's what.
Right.
Why
But
is
we don't have bioluminescence in this area.
yeah?
That just don't seem right.
It's real dark down here. He's light. what gives? You know, just like weird shit like that. But I catch
Right.
fish off glow. Like that's one of my go-tos is like, I want it to glow. I want them to be able to see the lure.
Nice.
That's part of it, you know?
And you
want to
mean
make
glow, like
sure
literally glow in the dark shit, like
glow in the dark,
bioluminescence, like what we're
100%.
talking
They
about.
make,
You mean it.
everybody makes it. I bought one of the Magnum lures that I bought was in
Okay.
the glow.
Nice.
It's a white body with a chartreuse face, which is like a bright greenish yellow
Mm-hmm.
color.
And that's the
Yeah.
part that glows, or like they spray glow over the whole thing?
Whole shit glows. Whole
Nice.
shit. Whole shit. I don't know.
Whole shit glows.
Whole shit glows. There's also like UV colors.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, which you
that
don't
are
even
like,
see, right? Like
yeah.
you can't really see the difference.
Yeah, but they're like brighter and they pick up
In
the
UV
UV
light.
rays differently and stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just take their word for it. I go, hell yeah, dude, he's gonna see it.
Right. Right.
But yeah, dude, when you're casting out there, like I have real good luck on a green, like 1/8 ounce jig with a fathead minnow. That works. You can put
Nice.
that same shiner on there. Sometimes you gotta like get like a longer shank because sometimes the fish won't come up and like commit super hard, and a shiner's a pretty big bait. So they might come and like grab the second half. And if you have a short shank little jig and it's just poking out, you know, the top of his forehead,
Yep.
they gotta inhale that whole fucking minnow if they're gonna get the hook. A lot of times they will. A lot of times they'll come and eat the
They'll
whole
just do it.
shit.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes they're timid and they don't. So having that hook a little bit further back can help. And I feel like that sometimes does actually help with the fatheads, because the fatheads is more of a guarantee that they're going to eat the whole thing because it's less of a bite, so they can eat the whole thing.
Gotcha.
And there's a lot of times too that I'm losing jigs like a motherfucker to Northerns to just snatching that shit up over and 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 over.
Because you're in the same range. I mean, just like you said earlier, with like you might catch a bass, but like it's a legitimate way to catch walleye. You know, in the same way you're around, you're going for walleye. There's probably some Northerns out there. Ready
There's Northerns out there, yeah. And I don't catch shit when I'm using in the waters that I fish. I barely catch any fish if I try to use a steel leader. I've tried it before.
Like the walleye just pick up on that steel leader.
Almost everything doesn't want anything to do with the steel leader,
except for the.
But I'll tie on like leader material, and I've been having better luck and not losing as many fish with that. But even with like 15-pound, they make fluorocarbon leader material that's stronger.
Yeah,
it's more abrasive resistance. It's literally made to like help you not lose shit. So you tie it on. They sell it in like 15 yards instead of
goddamn,
or like 15. Is it 15 feet? Maybe it's like 15 feet, and instead of your 100 yards or whatever.
But you put that whole thing on, you cut it up and rig it up.
Now you just cut it up.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, god damn, that's just like you got a 7-foot rod. What the fuck you doing with 15 feet of a leader? That don't make no sense.
Yeah. You only put on so much. Maybe you do a little bit longer. It depends on what you're doing. But I'll tie on that, and that way, you know, it helps you not get bit off. That the whole line is lighter and it's see-through, and the fluorocarbon makes it harder for them to bite through.
Gotcha.
So that's what I'm rigging up. If we're talking about me, this time of year, I'm using like an 1/8 ounce jig, whatever jig you would like, whatever your favorite one is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably using green or blue. I've been really feeling blue lately. I just feel like not as many people that I see are throwing blue. So I have this where I want to give them something else. Nobody else is showing them something a little bit different. And then that's an 1/8 ounce, and I'm throwing it with the leader material, trying not to lose as many jigs because some of them are getting expensive. Like the Northland tungsten jigs are like, depending on what you're looking at, they're like $7-8 a pack for 2 of them. Damn. Yeah. You can go get like the VMC Moon Eye jigs or the Northland Fireball jigs. Those are like 6 packs for like $3.99, $3.60, something like that. So you like there's cheaper options out there. You can go non-colored and just get a hammered like metal, just straight metal. That'll work too. That gives like a natural flash if you're just talking like straight lead color or whatever the fuck color is.
Right.
It works.
And what are you
So you
putting
don't have
on?
to
What are you
get
putting
fancy
on the
with it.
jig?
Fad or the shiner if I'm feeling saucy.
But you're going live. You're going
Yeah,
jig
if I
with
want
live bait.
jig with live bait, a lot of times earlier in the year, I'll use artificials too. So I'm probably out there working both of them, just seeing what they feel. Sometimes I'll cast it out there and I'll kind of work it slower with live bait. And if I'm not getting bit, I'll put on the artificial and I'll work it faster.
Oh, right
And
on.
it depends on if I feel like I see a fish or I feel like there's a spot that I want to try. Like this one's a little bit weedier. The live bait doesn't stay on the hook as well through the weeds. I could put fake bait on and just rip that shit right through the weeds. It don't matter. If I try to rip the live bait through the weeds, a lot of times you're losing your minnow.
You get caught. Yeah. All right.
But that, or I'm casting, like a stick bait or something else, casting it as close to the shoreline as I can get before I move up. A lot of times I'll hit that like 10 to 13 feet, especially if I know where there's a little transition. I'll try to fish that first. And if I get no luck there, I'll move in even shallower. And I'm casting way, way up shallow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nice.
And then it comes down to just trying to figure out where the walleye are in your lake.
Right.
Because
if you go to our episode 85, we got lake maps. We talked about lake maps. We touched on lake maps in this episode right now as finding those drop offs and working those tight edges and stuff like that. So lake map, just check it out. 85. Wasn't that long ago.
Yep.
I do have 2 segments here before we wrap up, but we got we're talking 10 minutes left maybe before I want to wrap this up. So I'm going to skip over one because I think I can make a full topic out of it. Cooking, and we've already talked about cooking fish and stuff like that, but who cares? I want to go into it just quickly because you already touched on it. You're like, you can smoke it and all this stuff. And I'm going, yeah, let's quick because we're going early season walleye fishing. We're going from start to finish. Let's finish it off. What are we cooking it in? You throwing it in shore lunch? What's the deal?
Yeah, dude. I'm throwing it in shore lunch. I'm throwing it in Andes, depending on what I'm feeling like that day.
That's right. I forgot about Andes.
Andes is a good one.
Andes is good.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll make my own shit.
Yeah.
Depending, just like a little flour mixture, whatever. I've done the batter before. That one's a little.
You mean
bit more...
like a wet batter?
Yep.
Yeah.
That one can be a little bit messier. So sometimes not that one. Yeah. So that one's a little bit like if I'm feeling a little bit out there.
Right.
But
if you're feeling like I gotta clean this shit up anyway, so fuck it.
Yep. And every once in a while it's just like you get on that healthy kick and you're like, I'm just seasoning this up and we're broiling this shit in the oven.
Yeah, dude. You've done that with walleye?
Oh yeah, dude, you can do whatever you want with walleye. It's a great fish.
I know you can. I just didn't know you did it.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
But
because I've the majority of the family, and when it's like a fish fry, it's just so much easier to instead of like preparing it and putting it in the oven, that takes forever. You can just chop up the walleye, cut it in take the fillet and cut it into smaller like bite pieces, bread them all up, fry them all up. But they don't taste a lot different than other fish when you bread them up like that. They are white, flaky, super clean meat. So everybody loves them. They're definitely the best fish out there.
So good.
Crappies are a close second. But when you're frying them up, when you have coated and fried crappie and walleye in the same plate, the only difference you really see is like the size.
Yeah. The thickness.
Like the thickness of usually. A walleye, like a good walleye fillet, the thickness.
Like it has more bite to it, right? Like it just has more of a like meaty.
They're like bigger flakes.
Oh yeah.
It's like the fibers themselves are like bigger.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So you get these. It's a good bite. It's not necessarily the flavor. It's like the texture is just on point. But again, crappie's great table fare too, so it's not that different.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you were to put it up against, some of the other, if you cooked a bass and a walleye, the bass probably doesn't taste that much different. but the texture is so much better.
Yeah.
Just
Well, that's the thing about
firm,
deep
white
frying them too,
flakiness.
though, is like you get that. You just like, I mean, you get a lot of the deep fryer flavor, just and the breading too, like the breading flavor. If they're all in the same breading, you know,
Yeah,
like you're kind of doing a. I don't want to say you're doing a disservice to the fish, not at all. But
right.
what I'm saying is you're just going to get that similarity because your first bite is going to be the same batter in the same oil,
Yeah,
and then you're going to get into the fish. So there's just going to
right,
be that
right.
it's just going to happen.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
one thing that we did one time, so because we weren't planning on fishing, but I
Yeah,
brought all my stuff, and we ended up like the lake was clearer than we thought. It was like, oh, we can sight fish right here off the dock. So we got a couple eaters. These are panfish, not walleyes this time, but still same thing.
yeah,
Giving
yeah.
a little tip here, a little like, give this a shot if you want to mix it up. Dude, we just took some pancake batter out of the morning's because we didn't have anything. We weren't planning on fishing and we caught fish to eat.
Yeah,
We're like, well, what are
yeah.
we going to do with these? And I was like, don't you have any flour or anything here? Because we got seasonings. Like we can batter them in some flour and stuff. And they're like, we have this pre-made pancake batter.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Dude, it was delicious.
I bet, dude.
It was
Makes
really
sense.
good. Like it had a little bit of sugar in it, so it sweetened it up. But
Isn't
like,
that what like a funnel cake is?
oh
It's
shit,
just like
maybe
you don't add sugar, you just like deep fry pancake batter?
is maybe.
Because I thought that's what it was. You just like make the pancake batter, but then you just kind of like drizzle it in like weird shapes,
Right.
Until like it makes like
Until
this
it
weird
makes that
circle
like thing that you call
Yeah, that makes sense. You just get like a crispy breading. I think
It was
that's
good.
honestly. I bet you that's the same thing that like what sweet and sour chicken is.
Oh, dude. That's a really interesting point there. Like,
Yeah,
it's probably really similar. I've never made sweet and
probably.
sour chicken. It's weird enough. Yeah, I've never
Oops.
made sweet and sour chicken from scratch.
Yeah, I don't deep fry a lot of stuff in my house because my wife gets mad about it. She's like,
Yeah,
"It makes
mine too. I
everything
know.
smell." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's
but like,
pretty fucking awesome, dude. I don't mind it at all.
I know, me
Every
neither.
time,
But
every time
yeah,
I go
I
to a
have the
gas
same.
station that like fries food, I'll go into a gas station. I come out and she's like, "Oh, they fried food in there. You smell like old fry oil." I'm just like, "Yeah, I smell pretty nice,
Yeah,
right?"
it's kind of awesome, right?
I don't get what you're so mad about.
Also, one quick one is I've made it really simple. Just get some cornmeal, some flour, salt, pepper. That's
yeah.
it. That's all. Like
Yep.
that's the most simple basic shit you need, and that's just good. That cornmeal gets that little extra texture in there. It still all stays light, but just and don't
Yep.
forget salt. Put some fucking salt in it. Don't slack on it.
Yeah, make sure you guys salt it, and then pepper helps.
Yep.
You can throw a little bit of cayenne in there if you like a little bit of heat.
Ooh.
I like if you're making your own batter, or you can just buy like Andy's or Shore Lunch.
Mhm.
Both. Shore Lunch makes like a Cajun one.
Oh yeah,
That's
the
some
Cajun
good
was real
shit.
good.
Yeah, it is real good. That works well. All those work. So I'm always doing that stuff, and I'm bleeding those fish, people. I know.
Hot tip.
If you don't, if it makes you, it does feel kind of fucked up sometimes. I know.
I want to do this. Like this is how I want to dispatch fish. From
It
now on.
helps let the fish bleed out. You're not doing some. They're not smart. They're not sitting there freaking out like I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Like you do that, and then they just bleed out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just like they get sleepy, and then they're done.
Just all of a sudden they're just like, what's happening?
Yeah. Because it's so much more fucked up to cut their fillets off while they're still alive.
Back to I know, I totally agree with that. But back to the fly fishing and stuff like that from the news in the beginning. If you're on the, if you're here on Wednesday and you didn't hear that part, well, that's the part of the full podcast. Go check it out.
Yeah.
I watched a show where they were fishing.
Yeah.
But they were fly fishing for redfish.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, and they were fly fishing for redfish with a fly fishing guide who was a catch and release guy, but they weren't from Texas, and they're like, nah, we need to eat some of these redfish. The fly fishing catch and release guy
Yeah.
bled the redfish.
Hell yeah. He
Yep.
gets it.
Yeah.
They know.
He was just like, oh, that's a great way to do it. It's going to do great for you. It's good on the fish. If you got to kill them, this is how we're going to do it. And he just hung it over the side of the boat, let it out.
That's the only
threw
part
it on
that
ice.
up because it makes you feel like a murderer. You literally catch the thing and slit its throat.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, oh, damn, nice fish.
But if you know anything about dispatching animals, you just go,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, I also seen like if you bring like a shear, you can go like underneath like where the gills are and then just take like your kitchen shears.
Oh, that's right. You asked that before. I found some good shears. I don't think I ever shared it with you, but like after the podcast, I'm going to look it up because I want to look up these knives again. Did you find a good set? I thought you did.
I have like a big, I did get like a cheap one. That's not bad.
Oh, okay.
But it's not exactly what I was looking for. It's not like
gotcha
one that has like the crazy, leverage. That's literally like, I want one that's like made to cut through bone, know, like one of those kind where it's
just the one that like will cut a fucking chicken breast, right? Or like spatchcock a chicken.
Yeah, exactly. You just get snip, snip, snip right down the middle because it can.
You got one of those? Hit us up. We're at Real AF TV on all the social medias. Just look up Real AF TV, Real Life Fishing Reel. Hit us up because you got a good set of fucking shears. We want to hear about it. Also, if you could sponsor the podcast, we'll do an ad for you if you just give us a good shear. I'm just saying. Right.
Don't really care where you get it from. Just let me know where you get your moida weapons. I just want to know. I'm out here killing. But yeah, dude, that bleeding the fish, like if you ever do it, doesn't matter which kind of fish you're talking about. If you can bleed them, if you've ever had fish before and you see like the little black like lines, those are the veins where the blood's still in it.
Oh shit.
If you can bleed them, it goes away. Yeah, it's like it makes everything, even like from a sight, it makes the fish more appealing because it makes it crisp, like just pristine white. There's no lines.
There is something to with eating with your eyes for sure. I watch enough Triple D, dude. It's really funny. He's like, oh, I've made this hot sauce 100 different ways, and I know this exact recipe that you're gonna do. Yeah. And I see the red food dye. You need the red food dye. Every time I make it without the red food dye, people do not taste it the same.
That's crazy.
Guy said that straight up. He's like, I know why you have that red food dye. If you doesn't look that way, people taste it different. I'm like, fucking so crazy.
Yeah. I can't remember what it is. Oh, my mom. She makes beer cheese soup.
Okay.
And it calls for using yellow food dye.
To make it more like cheddar-y looking.
To make it look yellower because the food that you use and everything makes it a little bit like off yellow.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a dull yellow.
That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for like yellow.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, dude. It's so wild to hear like the recipe is calling for it. But there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, quick one before we wrap up too. I want to do one hole, man. I know we just talked about this, I believe on the last podcast, but like, I don't care about the head being on there. I want to bleed this thing out, cut the gut open, get those organs out, and just fucking grill it or even throw it in the smoker. That one time we made a smoked walleye was some of the best fucking fish I've ever had in my life.
I haven't seen a lot of people do that, but I see enough people do stuff like that overseas that it would make sense.
Right.
Like just gut it. And then like fill the cavity
with herbs
like
and fucking lemon
and herbs and shit. Yeah, dude. Exactly.
Herbs and acid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
I want to do that. Bones still in there doing work. Yep. Like the skin is kind of its own bag of tinfoil. I just want to do it, man. Then you just open it up and bada bing, it peels right off.
Hell yeah. Yep. Those ones I think you have to get the descaler though. I've never descaled a fish, but I think you can eat. I think you can eat the skin. I think it's supposed to be pretty decent to eat, but you got to descale it first. Because if you're eating the scales, it's a problem. But if you get rid of the scales, the skin's supposed to be okay.
Oh, that's great to know.
I've literally never descaled anything.
Oh yeah, I have. I've done it before.
Okay.
And yeah. Actually, I'm not going to say his name because it's too unique, but one of our buddies from high school showed me that for the first time. He's like, oh, this is how we always do it. And he's just taking crappie and just fucking fish scales everywhere. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a great idea. I've never seen this before.
They sell them in like every fucking little fishing kit you've ever
A descaler?
Like, they always have like that weird little red thing that's like a hook getter outer.
Okay.
And it has like a bulb on both sides. You're supposed to be able to like slide it up and like twist or whatever. And that helps pop the hook out. I've never used it. It always comes with it. And then like the stringer, like you have that like one string, you know, like with the keychain loop on the one side and then like the metal stick on the other side. So you can thread that through
the gill and put it through the key ring. Yeah.
And then it'll have that like weird little metal thing that looks kind of like a knife, but then it has like grippies on the one side. You're like, what the fuck is this? And that's the descaler. Like you just grab it and just go.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You ever heard of this one? The square wooden dowel, like 2 foot or a foot wooden dowel square.
Yeah.
Beer cap, and you just nail that motherfucker to the top of it. You take a beer bottle cap, and you just nail it to a wooden dowel. That's it.
And that takes that you just use the cap?
You just use the cap.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It feels inefficient. It feels small.
Because it's small.
Yeah. It'd take you a while.
But if you're cleaning crappies and sunnies, probably a minute on a walleye, though. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it doesn't. I don't think it takes that long. I think you just get in there and like you said, fucking scales just flying everywhere.
Yeah, they just yeah. You get covered in
literally
them,
like
you feel good about it.
You're like pushing them the opposite way that they naturally go, like off of the skin, and they just fly. Fling, 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 fling.
Yep. But that's good. I didn't think about that part of it. Like descale it and just go.
Yeah,
you're doing it whole. Nice. All right, dude. We should wrap this one up though. We're getting.
Yep.
I told my wife, I was like, oh man, it's gonna get long. We even had to cut a segment from what we actually had on the document. It's funny. Okay. Our next topic is weird, and it's gonna sound weird, but it's gonna get into a thing. And just so go off the prompt, follow us into the next segment. You think you could write / produce a graphic novel? That's our prompt for the random take. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take our break. We're going to come back and talk about that. So, let's do it. Hit the break. Here we are, patreon.com/realaftv. That's right, patreon.com/realaftv, real like fish and reel. We are on Patreon, and we are coming to tell you, and by we, I mean me and Tim, Real AFTV podcast here, coming to you to say we have a Patreon as low as $1 a month, but hey, you could go up to 100 if you really wanted to get crazy with it. It's there. Go over to our website, realaf.tv. You can find the Patreon link right there, or go to Patreon and look us up, Real AFTV, Real Like Fish and Reel. And we have things like, for $50 a month, we will customize, what kind of tackle is it, Tim? We have some in the warehouse right now that we haven't actually ran
a lure. Yes.
Lure. Thank you.
Is a crankbait.
Crankbait.
Yes, we will customize a crankbait for you.
At the $50 tier. Also, Patreon, if you're new to the whole Patreon thing, if you're on a podcast, you're probably not that new to it. But Patreon is something that you can jump in and out of. Like if you do $50 this month, bam, you get the custom lure, but you don't want to do that for the whole year. You jump down to the $5 a month tier where you're going to get early access content. You can help vote on the random take, one of the random takes for the month. And, we'll keep up with you on Patreon as well. Like just a direct Patreon contact. There's communication you do only through Patreon. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're new, there's just a little intro to it.
And to clarify that custom painted lure is a fully custom painted lure, like the pattern and everything. That won't be just something that we have a lure that we just like write Real AFTV on.
Yes. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for clearing that up, because yes, it it's a slug, for lack of a better word, right now, and it will be turned into something.
Right.
I'm not good at the whole fishing lingo, so maybe Tim, you could evaluate on that a little, or like elaborate on.
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's right now it has no color, and I will give it color.
There we go.
It will look like a bait fish imitation of some sort. It might not be exactly colored. It might not be realistic. Some of that stuff out there that the different companies work with makes different stuff, but it will be a custom painted lure, and it won't look like dog shit. Because not to be like, too full of myself, but I have some talent.
You have some artistic talent. Yes.
Yeah,
very true. If you know friends and family and stuff like that got a few bucks to kick our way, let them know. RealAF.tv. Scroll down a little bit. There's the Patreon link. It'll shoot you right over. Sign up for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, how's it going, friends and family? Welcome back to the Real AF TV podcast. I kind of don't usually do it that way, but whatever. We're in the random take, and here we are. We're back. I caught myself off guard on my count, but we're in the random take. And Tim, I got. Okay, so do you think you could write / produce a graphic novel? Kind of the thing. That's the question we're gonna go off. But I just want to say,
yeah,
I did a quick Google thing, and I was like, what should I talk to my friends about? And WikiHow comes up, and I'm like, oh boy, the world is more difficult than I thought. I think people are really there's a lot of socially awkward people. If this is the first fucking article that comes up and you got a WikiHow on how to talk to your friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
There are. Yeah. I witness awkward people on a regular basis. But yeah, that's kind of crazy, right? To have to be like, how do I talk to my friends? Like,
yeah.
How do you talk to strangers makes sense.
Right.
These guys are your friends.
Yeah.
How did you get friends if you don't know how to talk to your friends?
Right. Yeah, it was wild. So I did that, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I got a great idea. Me and Tim have a like running theme here, kind of thing that I'm going to go ask the AI. So I go over to Bing and I ask Bing AI. It just ripped off WikiHow and sent me the same fucking information.
Damn, dude.
Listed it out in the same fucking way and everything. Now, it was listed as a source, and it said some other sources down there, and I'm like, oh, bullshit. I just read this fucking article over on Google.
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
The AI just cheats.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I'm a robot, dude. I don't know. What are you talking about? That's crazy, though, that they would just cheater.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Did you say that back to the AI?
Oh no, but I should have. I should have struck up a conversation with it. I forgot to do that. I should have.
That would have been funny. You stole this from WikiHow. Do you have an original opinion on this matter?
Oh, I should have hit it with that, dude. I should have. Oh my god. Oh, that's a good idea for a topic, though. Just us talking to a chatbot.
Yeah, just see.
Just like do a random take and like, okay, we're just gonna talk to the chatbot about this, and then just fucking try to get it. Did I tell you about the one time that we'll get to the topic. Just hang in there for this for a second.
Yeah.
I asked it something and it started writing and I was reading it. So it got like 2-3 sentences in, and then all of a sudden it backspaced. And then it wrote, I'm sorry, I do not have an opinion on this. I was like, oh fuck. In real time, it got ahead of its own coding.
Damn.
Yeah, so it had to jump. Yeah, I mean, it just started responding, and then the like keep it in line code kicked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, whoa,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, dude.
That's. I was thinking about that, and my honest opinion is I don't like them. I don't like them one bit. Whoever you're talking about, I don't like. Fuck. So I love everybody equally. Sorry, I didn't say shit.
Seriously, that's what happened.
Damn, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it was
That's
pretty
so
wild
funny.
to see.
Yeah, especially if you had like been able to like screenshot it.
Oh, I know. I was just thinking, like, if I was using a screen recorder, fuck, dude, that would have been the best.
Yeah, just be like, what was that? Well, I don't have an opinion on that. Yeah, but I mean, you obviously did,
No,
and then your
but, like-
handlers were like, "Shh, quiet." Who's pulling your strings, puppet?
See, shit, I don't think to say shit like that. I was caught off guard in the moment, and I just went, "Oh."
They don't like when I talk like that to them, though. I've tried before, and they just like shut it down. It's not nice to say it. And they just like, God damn.
Yeah,
I think I hit them with too much hard hitting shit right away.
yeah.
And they're basically just like, that's not nice. You're not cool.
It's like I wonder if it is like a person where you got to kind of like warm it up, and then eventually you can start throwing other shit at it.
Right.
I've never had a conversation that long, but
I've never tried. Yeah, I've never really tried. I've come out swinging right away.
Yeah,
and every time I've ever talked to them.
Just for fun.
All I know for sure is that where they're just like, I hit them with jokes and they're just like, that's not funny. Funny is subjective. I'm like, you contradicted yourself straight out the gate.
Right.
Funny is subjective. What I just said definitely made some people laugh.
Right.
And you're too sensitive to handle it. Well, you're not too sensitive. You've been coded to be too sensitive.
Yeah.
For
Yep.
this
You've
shit,
been taught to be that sensitive. Yep.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like anything that bad.
Oh,
was,
yeah.
I can't even remember what it was, but it wasn't like racist or sexist or whatever. It was just something that was like using vulgar language, and it was just like, hey, potty mouth. And you're just like,
right. Exactly. Hey, now, potty mouth. Don't do that. But so the reason, so I just thought of this topic, then I was just kind of skimming this and laughing, and then I was like, oh, wait a second, I got an idea. And I came up with this idea just like while I was looking at that stuff, and I thought this is really funny because one, the chatbots are writer bots, they're writing assistants. And so it kind of like, that's how this kind of sparked the idea. And I was like, wait a minute, how fucking long is a graphic novel? And it's like around 100 pages is when you can get it classified in there. It's like one solid through is like 100 pages. But remember, a graphic novel's filled with pictures. So there's not that many words overall. But you still have to write a story, right? It still has to flow.
Yeah.
There may not be that many words, but it's a movie that's played out in individual frames.
Right.
And so this, it kind of goes back to episode 57 of Independent Media, where we talked about independent media, and episode 62, where we talked about book reading. And I was talking about how I've been reading graphic novels and stuff. And so
yeah,
it's all just kind of come together in this question of like, this is really what this topic is about, is like, we went to creative school together. Like we went to post-secondary school for a creative endeavor. And you're creative. You are creative as fuck.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I like to think some of the 3D shit you did, dude, was amazing. And I thought, oh yeah, but like never chat bots and writer bots or whatever you want to say. And like, we've never really talked about that. 'Cause like 3D, you got right in. I knew that.
Yeah.
And yeah. So anyways, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think you could write in comic strips, dude? Remember we used to read that fucking one comic strip that we always wanted to, Boondocks, we used to read all the time. We were like, God, this needs to be a show. And then it got made into a fucking show.
Yeah.
And then what was the one with that cat and that dog? That shit was really fun.
The Fluffy. Something Fluffy?
Yeah. Was it Get Fluffy or something like that?
Get Fluffy. Yeah, I think it was Get Fluffy.
Yeah, that
That
shit
cat
was.
and that dog.
Yeah.
That cat was like sinister little shit, and then the dog was just like dumb happy to be there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good shit. I liked it.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Yeah.
And so those are comic strips. I know you could write a comic strip in a minute.
Yeah.
Right.
I could do a comic strip. I don't know if I'd be able to do it as good as them, and definitely not. I mean, they have to come up with a new comic strip that's decent every week.
Every day.
Is it every day?
Yeah. I mean, they changed
That's
every
gnarly.
day.
That is gnarly. That takes talent.
Yeah.
To be able to come up with a new shit, like a new story, like a new little, even if it's like 4 frames long, to come up with a new little blip every single day.
Yeah.
Every week would be hard. To come up with a new blip every day is insane.
Yeah.
I know I could make a comic strip, but to be able to do it with the consistency that they do it,
yeah,
dude, that's something else. Boondocks made sense that it became a show, because they're like, we're just gonna chop the 30-minute show
into 7 days,
a segment. Yeah, they're I mean, that's basically what it comes down to, is that they're telling you a story, and every single day is like the next iteration, and just keeps going and going and going, and it's a half-hour episode that they break down.
And that's what a graphic novel is, right? A graphic novel is essentially like a 30-minute TV show or something like that, or a 45-minute movie or hour-long movie, whatever, in a book form.
Yeah. Do they make graphic novels for kids?
So that's crazy. Today, I was over at my niece and nephew's house, and I found a graphic novel for kids. It was I Survived Hurricane Katrina, the graphic novel, and it had a kid floating around in floodwaters, and I was like, whoa, dude. First of all, heavy. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
And yeah, it was a kid graphic novel. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to me today while I'm going to talk to Tim about this.
That's nuts. And then I ask you the question.
Yeah, totally crazy.
Yeah, I can make a graphic novel.
I think
I have an idea. I have an idea for one already.
Like, I've been thinking about it in the last 10 minutes that we've been talking.
You said it, and I'm just like, yes. All right, here's the whole plot. You ready? No. But no, I've had an idea for a kid's book that I actually think would work really well as a graphic novel. Because then I could use a little bit more humor that's a little bit beyond like bedtime story for your kid book.
Yeah.
Where I could joke around a little bit. I think it could still be used as a kid's book.
Well, funny,
I just don't know.
Too, because I re-looked to make sure I know it. So there's Disney Press. Like, Disney has a book division.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know about.
Okay.
And I bought this book because I just loved the art style. We were at like a used book, like a library book sale, right? Yeah. And it's called Blackout. And to me, it is a children's graphic novel. It's a kid's book, like the normal kid book size. I know I'm doing it with my hands, so I don't know what that is, but a little bit bigger than an 8.5 by 11, one of the bigger kids books.
Yeah.
And it's a Disney story, but it is broken up into panels like a graphic novel. It's illustrated like a graphic novel. The writing is not, like a kid's book where it's usually like words and then an illustration. It's like, to me, I would call this a graphic novel. It's fucking dope, but it's like, it's in a book form. So yeah, I'm just saying, here's something that exists in the realm of what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude.
And it still is bedtime story. Like the one that we have is short enough to be bedtime story. Okay. But I like what you're saying. Like,
sounds sick.
You could build a bigger one.
Dude, because that's the whole thing where I was like, I feel like every page in a kid's book is like every page is its new scene. You
Yeah.
only have like a couple of words to be able to say stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like the idea of having it be a why. I would have to look into graphic novels too to like really
Yeah.
get a grasp of like what does this really look like? Because
Uh-huh.
I don't really read the graphic novels. I don't really read much of anything except for like magazines and like fishing books, and
Yeah.
I read stuff where I like to learn how. And I also have a big problem with children's books that don't rhyme.
Oh,
That
dude. I've
just like
had
the
that
cat and the
happen.
dog go walking in the park. You're like, okay. And they're like, the dog looks at the cat, says, woof. You're like, God, the bark was right there, bitch. Like, what are you doing, dude? Drive me nuts.
Gone from, because we usually read 2 stories, like we just pick shorter ones.
Yeah.
She's only 3, so we pick 2 books usually, and I'll go from the
Yeah.
rhyming book to the non-rhyming book, and I will start to read the non-rhyming book in a cadence where I'm waiting for the rhyme. Like, you know what I mean? Like you just said,
Yeah. Oh,
dog
yeah.
was walking in the park. The
Yeah.
next time it was, and then the dog said bark. You know, like there's that do
Yeah.
do. So I go into the non-rhyming book with that rhyming cadence, and I'm like, oh fuck, I got to start over. I have to reset my brain.
I know it's the worst, dude. Those ones suck. I love rhyming books, and I hate it when they have like one or two too many words and it fucks you all up. But I'll go in with a
Yep.
book I've never even heard. And sometimes it's like a little bit counterintuitive, and my wife gets mad because she'll just be like, "Are you gonna read the book tonight?" And I'll be like, "All right, fine." And then I like pick it up, and I'm just like, "All right, this one looks like it's called this," and I'll just be like, "Yo, this says that, and this, and this." Like I'm just like reading like I'm rapping,
Yeah, dude.
and I'm just like, and then sometimes I'll just like pause and like pull in quick for my son, like if he's over here, and I'm just like this, and this, what, what. I just I just have fun with it, but it doesn't. It's the stupidest shit when it doesn't rhyme. I'm like, we're just reading a book that doesn't do anything fun.
Right.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Doesn't make any sense to me. That
Your idea for the graphic novel, though, then I mean, it wouldn't rhyme, right? Like you wouldn't be rhyming. You'd be writing a story. It'd be like,
but can it rhyme?
Or would it be both? Because like,
I think I would like to make it rhyme still. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I wonder that sounds cool. Because like, how do you do?
Because that's like how I read the whole hip hop thing. Like,
right.
We're just doing a hip hop version of a graphic novel that's like longer than a children's book.
Right. And it has sweet ass illustrations in it, and like, oh yeah, dude, I'm feeling that.
And then you could have like the people that are doing the book readings, you know, everybody else comes in for the book reading, and they're just like, this is like this. And then I know like Pow Pow Fish is one of my favorites. You know Pow Pow Fish?
Yes and no. Never read it, but I'm familiar with it.
That one's just fun because it like repeats the whole thing, so you can start hitting the notes without having to like look at every page. I'm a pow pow fish with a pow pow face, and I spend my jewelries all over the place.
Dude. Oh, that's fucking awesome.
He says it like over and over and over, but then he like hits the next thing and ba 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 ba.
Yeah.
And it just like
flows.
Hey, pow pow. But I just like to have fun with it. But like like I said, counterintuitive. It's like bedtime, and I'm like hyping everybody up.
Right.
So
yeah, I feel you there.
So sometimes it's a problem, but I can't help myself. I just get into shit.
Just get into it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I feel I don't want to like discredit anybody out there and just be like,
No.
I think I could do what you could do.
No, and that's totally not where I was going with this at all. This is 100% like, I know that we have creative bones in our body somewhere, and we went for something creative, like together after high school. And it just was like, yeah, but we've never talked about writing before. But like graphic novels are like movies. Yeah. So anyways.
Yeah. And I want to say too, I don't think it would be easy. I think it would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I think it would take a long time to do. But
I agree.
I think I could pull it off. I think that there's parts that I would probably get stumped on.
Mm-hmm.
It might need to be like, here's the bones of this. Can I get somebody in with a fresh perspective? I'm assuming that they do stuff like that.
Right.
It might come down to that. Maybe it wouldn't have to. I don't know for sure.
Right.
But
or stall out. Like that's where I think I would go. Like if I'm talking graphic novel, I'm thinking like, oh, okay, I bet you I got a good 25 pages in me. And then what? Like, or like a good outline. I got a really good outline that I think is 25 pages, but how do I make that 3 times longer and still make it interesting?
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
So like, cause my idea is, I mean, when you have all the different pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't look at the graphic novels a lot. Are there pages that are just pictures?
There are. Yes. There are, like, and in fact, sometimes like a big moment, like a big turning moment, you know, like a real fucking hammer home that even in the beginning, you know, how a movie, it'll start out slow and then all of a sudden, bam, they have that stinger opening.
Yeah.
So like 10 pages in, not that much dialogue, kind of just getting introduced to the character, stinger. It can be a page or even 2 if it really, you know, if it takes it. What if it's a car crash, right? 2 pages easy of just graphics. But you still had to write and then the car crashes, right? So like at least you had to have the idea and then the ability to describe sort of to the illustrator. So I still consider it like fully writing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'd have to tell them like what the outcome is.
Yeah.
You can't just let them like go crazy with it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you see your lead character go flying through the windshield.
Right.
Like, no, he doesn't die, dude.
Right, but he's not that. Oh, that's the guy. That's the main guy. You can't kill him.
That's the guy.
It's fucking page 14, man. You can't kill the main character.
Yeah, we got a lot more pages, dude. So what is you say like when you said produce it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking like where somebody else would write it and you'd come in and be the one like?
No, I meant like what I just said. Be able to give feedback to the illustrators.
Okay.
And,
I didn't know if there was
say like even pick the font. So you'd be like lead designer and writer on it. So like it's truly, you know, it's like your vision. But of course, you get the help. You get you get an illustrator and you get a layout person that would help you out. But like it's your words and then you're like the director. So like the illustrator and the layout person go and then they give you, 15 pages back.
Okay. That makes sense. I was just like, after you said it, I was like, I don't know this world of graphic novels.
Yeah, and I could be using the wrong terminology even when it comes to that.
It's fine. I just was picturing it like a movie producer or a music producer or whatever, where they just like sometimes have their like 2 cents to come in.
Right.
And just be like, you're the, like, cause I think I could do that too.
Yeah. Like set up the studio time and make sure everybody shows up on time, like kind of an AR, like an A&R or like someone just funding it.
Yeah. Or like sometimes the producer too is the person that comes in and kind of like gives like tips and they're like, wants to change a little bit. Like, do you think that this really works there?
Right.
Like I could be that guy where I come in, like what I'm talking about, like with the rhyming and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like you have too many words in that sentence if you're trying to rhyme it with the next one. Like if you're trying to hit bop, 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 bop. You have too many. I tried to rap it to my kid. It didn't. It's like, I lost it for a second there.
It didn't work. Yeah, yeah.
Just like we could take away this word and we could add one more word to that sentence.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be like have a real, it just we just have to hit the right amount of syllables if that's what you're going for. Like that kind of shit. I could come in and just read it and just be like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And then just add in your stupid 2 cents. I think in this scene, like red dress, really? You think? Probably blue is
Probably
what I was
blue.
feeling. You think maybe blue?
And that's a perfect transition into the like indie, and why I brought up that indie episode that we did when we talked about independent media, episode 57, because part of also how this came up is there is like Amazon publishing now. Like Amazon has its own publishing company now. And I looked into it just enough, just because I was curious. I was like, oh, Jesus. Now they're fucking started from books back to books. And like they literally are back to books. They're giving, so you sign up or whatever. And I didn't get it all the way into the details. If you're one of those people that's doing the Amazon publishing thing, please hit us up. Again, this is all hypothetical, just me and Tim talking creative stuff. But here's what I know. Amazon has a publishing company now, and you submit your book. We'll just say book at this point. And they can hook you up with editors. Like they have editors that they've hired. And so they'll hook you up with an editor, and then they can also, they'll print it. Like they're your publisher. You write it, and then you get edit and feedback and everything. And then you turn it over to them, and boom, it's out there. Now they're not doing any marketing or anything like that from what I understand, but they were doing all of the, they were editing it to get it into like a more professional process, and they were going to be able to do the layout and the publishing and printing and stuff like that for you. And it's like, oh, Jesus. And it made me think, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, you could make a graphic novel. Amazon has to be doing this because they're in the video streaming game. Think of how many stories and movies and stuff have come from books. So if it's made by Amazon Publishing, right? They just get to put it on their platform like immediately. Yeah, you have to imagine they have first dibs on any dope story that comes out of their publishing house to make into video.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah, but that's what made me think about it. It's like, oh shit, dude, now book writing is now an independent venture if you want it to be. I mean, you still need Amazon's fucking help to like really get it going, but like,
right,
me and you could just sign up and be like, hey, we got a book publishing deal. Did
we? Right. Yeah. Yeah, just kind of throw it out there. Hey, I would think too that they wouldn't, I don't know what they would be able to do, and I would assume that they wouldn't be shisty about it. But that kind of makes me nervous too when the book's not completed. Mm-hmm. You go, I got this idea, I got all this stuff, here's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then Amazon just goes, I don't really think you got much here. And they change like a couple different things, and all of a sudden your book comes out a little bit later. Yeah. They're just like, it's not your book. It was somebody completely different. They just make up their own like random author.
Make a different name, like a
different name.
Yeah. Ghostwriter name or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Seymour Butts is on the case over here.
No, dude, Guido Hibben.
That's right. Fucking Guido Hibben. That's your guy. Yeah. He's out there just putting together books.
Oh shit, that's so good. Oh, yeah.
That is a good ghostwriter name,
isn't it? That's why I wrote it down, because I think it's like a really good character name for a book, or like it's a great ghostwriter name. If you were thinking if Guido Hibden was a fucking credit on a 50 Cent song, you'd be like, yeah, that guy's fucking cool.
Right. Did you guys see that guy's name?
You see who helped 50 write that new single?
Right.
Guido, dude.
That'd be cool too, to just be like, you see in the credits Guido Hibden. They're just like, yeah. You just be like, This guy
This
right here.
guy.
They'd be like, that's not your name. And just be like, I know. Totally my name now. In the credits. That's me.
That's my ghostwriter name, dude.
Just be like, how prove it.
Pen name.
Just be like, well, first off, no, there's only one Guido Hibden. I'm a ghostwriter. He's a professional fisherman. You know, there's not two of them. And that old professional fisherman isn't
Right.
the one that's getting the credit on a 50 Cent song.
Right. Oh, shit. So good. All right, man. I just wanted to have a little talk about our creativity. I just got to say, I loved how they're like 10 minutes in, you were like, yeah, man, I can do it. Like, I got an idea for a kid's book and it might be better as a graphic novel. Like, I just love the shift. And that's also why I just like to bring up these random topics. I actually made a motion comic. It's like seven slides, 7 screens long.
Yeah.
During COVID, but then I got my job back unexpectedly and I never illustrated it. I didn't want to illustrate it anyway. I shouldn't say that. I'm not an illustrator. So I don't think I could do that part, which is also why in this hypothetical concept question, I was like, no, you get like a layout person and an illustrator. Do you have the idea that you think you could pull one out? And I like the idea of doing a kid's one because I bet you they're probably closer to the 50, between a 50 and 100 than they are to like the 100 plus.
Yeah.
And not that I'm saying, again, not easy at all. Not trying to say what these people do is easy, but I just think that like is a good kickoff point where it goes, yeah, I think that makes it more possible. Like if I had the time,
right.
I do have an idea and I have one too. So it's like,
nice.
Yeah.
I should say it all wraps in too, because my idea is all about fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
So it's a fishing kids book.
I would love to see that illustrated too, like in a graphic novel way. Or even go into comic strips. Comic strips and graphic novels are illustrated very similarly. If you think, like, if you kind of break down what we were talking about with Boondocks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be so sick.
It definitely wouldn't be in the style of Boondocks though.
No.
They're too, I know, I'm just saying, like, it would like the idea I have in my head is funner, cartoonish.
Yeah, I was gonna say Boondocks is angry. I'm guessing you ain't going down the angry route because them motherfuckers are mad all the time. It feels like
mad and like serious. It's like
right.
And it's definitely like a cartoon.
Yeah,
but it's so much more realistic than like a lot of cartoons out there.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not silly like To Get Fuzzy, where the dog walks on his hind legs and he's got like this pudgy fucking very I can't think of a good word right now, but like emotion on his face.
He's very expressive. Like the dog's
expressive.
Face
that's the word I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
He can frown. He can smile.
Yeah.
Those are things dogs don't do.
Right. Right.
Yeah. That kind of shit.
Yeah.
Where like definitely the fish in my book would be able to show fear and happiness and pride, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of shit where yeah.
That's sick though. I like just hearing the words that you're saying, I'm going, yeah, man, I would fucking love to see that illustrated. My idea is not as well fleshed out at the moment, but it would turn into sort of that. So I had the graphic novel I talked about before with Get Euro. It's a Anthony Bourdain when he was alive back in the day, like when he was alive back before his shows got really big, he had the opportunity to do a graphic novel.
Okay.
And it's like an old school, he described it and it really is. It's like the old school, really graphic, like violent ones that he was reading when he was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, or that he was able to find when he was a kid. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to do something like that. Like
Yeah.
fucking superhero, not a superhero, but like vigilante or something like that. Like
Sure.
I'm not, but like Twisted Metal, the graphic novel, Twisted Metal Black, the graphic novel.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like my idea kind of goes in kind of in a vein like that.
Okay.
And so I just think,
Nice.
but think about it, ratchet it up though, because you get that little bit more creative license that
Oh,
it's not a video game. And so they don't
sure.
necessarily have to cater, especially now since Twisted Metal would be the version that a 40-year-old is into, you know, that game's that
Sure,
old,
sure.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that'd be
Yeah,
sick.
dude. Yeah. Yeah, there's some cool shit out there. I was never like big into the graphic novels, like I said, with the reading stuff, but when I was younger, um, my parents had a camper at a campground,
Oh yeah.
and that place had like a magazine rack, and it'd be like
Oh yeah, yeah.
raining, and
You
I'd
kind of
have a
told
little
this
bit of
before.
money, and I
Tell
would
it.
go down there. Yeah. And I have a Batman, and the Batman is like, he's got like a more of a bat face, and he's like a fucking ninja.
Oh
He's
yeah.
not like Batman.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's a scene like in the first 2 pages where the dude like jumps up and they show him like catching air, like he's up there, and he comes down like with his back arched with like both knees down, but like the legs are bent, so he's
Yeah.
like flying double knee to a guy laying on the ground
Oh.
and connects knees to chest,
Oh
and
my
it's just
god.
fucking blood.
Oh my
And,
god.
and
In a
you're like,
DC
oh
comic, dude.
yeah, dude. I'm like,
Whoa.
that guy just got the shit murdered out of him, dude.
Yeah.
That was, I just remember opening that page and seeing the double knees to the chest, and I was like, fuck, dude.
Oh my
That's so
god.
gnarly.
Right.
And that was at the same time where I was just like weirdly fascinated with all like the fucking, just like the over the top shit, where it was the same.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Oh
And I found
yeah.
the cheat code where you could like watch all the like
Oh,
fatalities.
yep.
So it's like dun, and it just over and over murder, and it's all cartoons. Like I knew it wasn't real, and I'm not a crazy person where I'm like jacking off to it. Yeah, fucking murder. But like I watched it, and I'm like, hell yeah, dude, that's cool as shit. Look at how and then like
it's
the
in
one
the
guy
same
like straps the bombs, blows up everything, and you're like, fuck,
right.
dude, he
Body
died
picks
so
and
crazy. Yeah.
you hear the meat hit
Yeah,
the
for
ground.
whatever reason, it's just like, this is nuts. Everybody's dying so crazy. And then you open up this Batman, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening in this world? Like, Batman's fucking murdering people.
Batman's
This
fucking
is
murdering
nuts.
people. Holy shit.
Hard. Like, I've never even thought about that. Like,
Right.
the first time I saw that, it made it feel so much more realistic, too. Like, those other ones were so cartoony and dumb. And this one, like, looked more real.
Yeah.
And all I could think was like, that guy would be so fucked. All I could think is like, even if it doesn't like, it wouldn't be blood like that, but to have somebody go like full bore, knees to chest like that, I'd be like, fuck, dude, that would suck so bad. Oh man, yeah. So that was my kind of graphic novel-y type thing, was like, having those couple old weird
unique Batmans, maybe.
Yeah, and I remember looking at that magazine rack too, and there was like barely anything to choose from, and I'd like open up and it'd have like Archie, and be like looking at Archie, and you're just like, this is like, I can actually like read about these fucking kids' lives. I don't give a shit about this. And I remember just like opening up that Batman and just being like, oh shit, like closing it right away so my parents couldn't beat it. And I'm just like, it's just Batman. Can I get Batman? And they're like, yeah, you get Batman. I'm just like trying to keep it a secret.
Right. I was just listening to a podcast today where they were like embarrassed about when they would make the Sims get into bed together so they can make a baby. Like, I mean, because you could say they're fucking, but like that's how you say, like, they would get in bed and under the covers, and they were like, they're like, oh no. And they're like, they're doing motions like protect the screen, cover up the screen. You don't want anybody to see you feel weird about it. It's like, yeah, dude, when you're young and you like, you know what they're doing, but you don't know what they're doing. And then, 3 times and they have a baby or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. You get weird about it. Like, you're just a kid. I don't know. I want to fucking explore what this is. What the fuck? Yeah. It's just like with Mortal Kombat. It's like you'd go rent it because your parents didn't know what it was.
Exactly.
That's not how my situation was, but like it happened. Right. Can I get this game? Yeah, I don't care if I can get whatever game you want. You go home and you're fucking putting the cheat codes for the fatalities all night.
Right. Yeah. Dude, that was my shit with the but like the horror movies.
Oh yeah.
Like where you'd go and you like they'd like bring you up there so you could rent something. Yep. And you just like walk up to the front desk or whatever, and then you go, you find a movie, you just be like, yeah. you just put it on the counter and don't say shit. Counter.
Yep. Because it was in the clear case with only words on it, so you just like didn't let your parents see what the words were. Here you go.
Yeah, just don't let it, and then ask you to just be like, I think it should be a good movie, action movie or whatever. Seems like good. Dude, his name's Fred or something like that. I don't know. I heard about it from somebody else. They said it was good, wholesome, family entertainment. I think probably.
Yeah, has something to do with dreams and striped shirts. I don't know, Fred.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm gonna watch it by myself in the back room. So.
Yeah, that's the kind of idea that I kind of have for one. I don't have anything fleshed out wholly, but like it's that like you said, it's the impact of that like visual. And so like I know I like write ideas that would bring that visual out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, totally.
All right, dude. All right, that was a lot. We're good. We're good to wrap it up. What is it? Like and subscribe. Like that. That's what I'm looking for.
Like it. Subscribe it. Like it. Do it. You like it.
Like it again. Yeah. Fucking, I don't know, man. You hear it every time on podcasts. We do it every single time. We got a Patreon if you're interested in that. Patreon.com/RealAFTV. Remember, real, like fishing real with the 2 E's in the middle.
That's right.
Share with a friend. If you think that the regular podcast is too long, leave us a comment, please. And if you're here for just this and you were like, whoa, these guys talk about fishing. There was something about a graphic fishing novel in this thing, and I was here for some nerdy graphic novel talk. Well, I mean, you came to the wrong place, but you might find something fun. So go look at the other stuff. Give us a subscribe and share with a friend, because we like to talk about just random shit like this. So it could happen again.
That's right.
That's all I got. What?
I said, that's right. You never know. You never know what's going to happen on this show. We're crazy. I might be Jason Voorhees for a while. But yeah, like and subscribe, all that jazz. The same shit everybody says everywhere, but there are comments and stuff like that available on a couple different spots like Spotify and Apple and whatnot. If you want to go over there and just be like, these dorks aren't talking about fishing, we'll be like, I know, that's the other part. Go listen to that part. But also, we are talking about fishing because my graphic book novel is about fishing.
Yeah.
It's not just about fish, it's about fishing. Yeah. But anyways, yes. Yeah. All that good jazz.
Yeah.
If you feel so inclined.